So, like, in my little circle of friends, we had this one friend who was a pimp, and he used to bring his girlfriend along when we all hung out, and he basically treated his girlfriend like trash. I remember when we used to go cruising, he would put his girlfriend in the back seat while he was driving, and one of his friends would sit in the front, so he'd stick his girlfriend in the back seat like a douche, right? And I also remember, whenever he would introduce his girlfriend to anybody, he would never say, "This is my girlfriend." He'd always be like, "This is my lover, Laura." You know? I remember he always used to scare the crap out of her too. Like, if he was driving, he'd run red lights, he'd run stop signs, and like pass 10 cars at once on a one-lane highway and totally freak her out. I remember back in 2009, we as a group of friends went up to like this snow retreat. You know, it was up in the mountains, it was snowing or whatever, and my friend brought along his girlfriend. Anyways, my friend got annoyed by her for whatever reason, so he locked her out for like 2 hours out in the freezing cold. You know, that's right. He kicked out his own girlfriend because, you know, she was getting on his nerves or whatever. I remember, too, he'd always force her to cook for him. She hated to cook, but he forced her to do it, you know, whether she liked it or not. And he would force her to buy, like, whatever groceries he wanted. And there were stories when the two went out to eat that he would order for her. Like, she would try to order something, and he'd be like, "Nah, she doesn't want that. She'll have the grilled chicken and spinach," you know? He even used to call her Chunky in public. Like, he had like a nickname for her. He'd be like, "Hey, Chunky!" And he'd totally like embarrass the crap out of her in public, right? He'd always used to ditch her too. Like, if the two were out and he saw one of his friends, he'd take off with one of his friends and leave her out in the blue, just out in the cold. And he never bought her anything ever. She paid for like every date, and she bought him presents all the time, while he never ever got a gift for her. And the rumor was, like, all our friends suspected this, that he used to beat her at video games, quote unquote, if you get my little code wording right there. And after all that, my friend treating his girlfriend like crap, guess what? She still worshipped the ground that he stood on. She like literally had a shrine of him in her room, and anytime that he wanted it, she would be honored to give it up to him, anytime, any day. But yeah, I guess if you want to keep a chick around, you know, for a while this day and age, you gotta pretty much treat her like dog shit, right?